Of the First Amendment, and I'm a big fan of the First Amendment, and I'm always proud to see protests no matter what the issue, because look how they handle them in Syria. We don't do it that way. We let people express it. Secondly, I am hearing a message out there, whether some people want to hear it or not. One of them is much like the message of Governor Sarah Palin on corporate cronyism and the fact that there are lobbyists all over Capitol Hill, and that Capitol Hill seems to be for sale. That the banks have been very punishing to the American people. They won't allow refinancing the loans so that people can try to bail out their underwater houses. So I actually hear a message. People may not see it coherent, but I see people are angry.
Listen, it's kind of an old story, and it's a story that I've been writing my entire career. That's how you know it's old. My career is spanning at least 20 years. That Wall Street is filled with bad guys. Okay, now we got a bunch of people in front of walking down Wall Street and some other cities saying Wall Street is a bunch of bad guys. I would say this, that these protests, when you listen to them, their solutions are kind of nihilistic. Let's get rid of Wall Street. Let's get rid of government. Let's start a revolution. Yes,
that's what the Tea Party wanted, but that's exactly
no. The Tea Party. Listen, I am not a Tea Party defender, but I will tell you this: the Tea Party is working within the Republican Party.
Well, no, the Tea Party say they're not in the Republican Party. They're in fact they say they're not necessarily
government. Well, that's what they say. But look, there are Tea Party members of Congress right now.
At the time, they were very upset with the tax system when it was launched on April 15, 2009. When we first saw the Tea Party, people took to the street. They were sick and tired of what they saw as sort of the punitive effect of a big government smothering them. This group's disenchanted with the government as well, whether it's regulating the banks or not regulating. I mean, it's really sort of a season of discontent, whether it's the Tea Party 2 years ago or now with this group.
I don't take this seriously, because I don't hear a coherent message other than let's screw the banks and raise taxes. When I hear the Tea Party, and like I said, I'm just a simple country reporter, Greta. I'm not a big Tea Party fan. They're always complaining about some of the stuff I say about them. But I did hear a coherent message about smaller government, less taxes, end crony capitalism. It was coherent. It made its way into the mainstream, which is a good thing. That's why there are Tea Party members of Congress. They're in the Republican Party, but maybe they'll go into the Democratic Party next. But I don't see this group putting people in Congress because they don't have a coherent message, and they're calling for, and a lot of them are calling for a revolution. These are some of these people, a lot of them, when you listen to them, are espousing socialists. Forget about left wing. These are communists.
Charles, here's the problem. You can't sort of, I mean, I start with sort of the fundamental part about the First Amendment and people's right to speak out, whether you like the message or not, as long as it's peaceful.
Well, of course, who cares about that? By the way, this isn't that peaceful. This isn't that peaceful.
Something else is something very different.
This isn't that peaceful.
I've never, in all my years, I used to represent demonstrators on all sorts of issues. It was never, I never sort of thought they had solutions. They usually were upset with something. I never saw them as having.
Well, listen, I don't mind demonstrating. I don't think most Americans like demonstrations. Some of these demonstrations are going over the line. How many people get arrested at Tea Party events? There have been a lot of arrests here. I will say this, to translate that into a movement, to give it some sort of credibility, as the president has, based on the fact that there is no coherency, based on the fact that a lot of these folks are avowed Marxists, I have a problem with that.
All right. Well, I have a problem when it gets violent. Just so you know, it's like if there are arrests and violence, that's where we get with violence. That's a little different thing. Anyway, Charles, thank you, and of course, we'll be watching this because this is
great story.
Very
great
indeed.
Story.